Hi, I'm Afi Ayanna, and welcome to your Rise and Shine yoga practice. Today's practice, we are going to focus on yoga for space. Basically, it will be an exploration of space in the body, spaciousness in the mind, and just seeing where can we create more space in our beings. So let's start in today's practice standing up. And we're going to connect with our feet first and think about lifting up on the arches of the feet, being active through the toes, pressing the toes into the ground, and rotating the shoulders up and down and back with the feet about hip-width distance apart, the palms facing forward, the heart shining forward, and creating spaciousness in the front of the heart. And you might even close your eyes here and then just check in with the body, using the awareness as a tool to come into this vehicle of the body. So inhaling deep into the heart center, seeing if you can create more spaciousness with your breath, and exhaling out, releasing any ideas, thoughts, notions that are keeping you from this spaciousness. And one more time, inhaling deep into the center of the being, filling the chest up with air, seeing where you can create more space with the breath in the body, especially if there's any pain or nagging thoughts. And then on the exhale, using the exhale of the breath, an audible sigh out. Beautiful. And inviting yourself to inhale, slowly opening up the eyes, rolling the shoulders up and down and back. And on the exhale, releasing the shoulders down. Inhaling the shoulders up. Nice and activeness in the spaciousness of the breath. Releasing the shoulders down. And one more time, inhaling the shoulders up and down and back. And exhale, releasing the shoulders down. Beautiful. Coming to the front of your mat or wherever it is that you're standing. Inhaling the arms up above the head. And exhale, bending, diving forward. And as you dive forward, seeing, can you create a micro bend in the knees? And as the head hangs here, can you allow for some spaciousness? Perhaps if you're feeling tightness on the back of the thighs or the legs, can you breathe into that, creating more spaciousness, using the breath to invite in the focus and the awareness. And on the inhalation, coming up to a flat back. And on the exhale, bending the knees, lifting back up all the way, rolling through the spine, the hands coming up above the head and back to heart center. Beautiful. One more time, inhaling the arms up, creating spaciousness, making sure that you don't drag the elbows or the ears up next, the shoulders up next to the ears, and exhale, bending forward. Swan diving forward. Beautiful. Inhaling up to flat back, creating space on the side of the neck. Exhaling forward here. One breath, one movement, and then inhaling all the way up. Reaching back to the center of the heart. Beautiful. We're going to grow on this for one more time. Inhaling up through repetition. Exhale, swan diving, creating space in the neck here. Bending the knees as you inhale up to flat back. Creating spaciousness as you slide the arms up the legs. Exhale, swan diving forward. And inhale, coming all the way up, pressing into the legs. Almost tearing the mat apart as you create strength in the legs and the hands come back to the heart on the exhale. Beautiful. So we're going to grow on this pose and this vinyasa of creating the spaciousness with the breath and the movement and come into another part of the series. So inhaling the arms up. Exhaling forward. Creating space in the belly. Inhaling up. Creating space in the back with the breath. Exhale, bringing the hands down to the floor, bringing the right foot back, bringing the left foot back to meet the right foot. If this is comfortable for you, you can stay up in this plank position, or if you'd like, you can bring your knees down to the ground. And we're going to be here for 3 breaths. So inhaling, creating space in the neck. Make sure that you're not collapsing in the hands and the neck, pressing into the toes, even seeing if you can shift your weight forward a little bit so your shoulders come forward towards the top of your fingertips. One more inhalation here. If you're shaking, that's beautiful. You're alive. Exhaling. Then bringing the knees down to the ground, beautiful. The tops of the feet come down to the ground, and we're just gonna come into a gentle cat-cow here. So inhaling, the chin and the chest up, creating space in the front of the pelvis and the belly, breathing into that space. Exhale, tucking the tailbone under. Seeing if you can coordinate the breath and the movement. On the inhale, the tailbone comes up, creating space as the shoulder blades kiss together in the back, opening up the front of the heart. And on the exhale, tucking the tailbone under, breathing into the space of the belly as it comes up back towards the spine. And on the inhale, one more time, inhaling, head and tailbone come up, breathing into the space in the front of the groin, even in the abdominal organs. And then exhale, tucking the tailbone under, curving back through the spine, looking back towards the belly button. Beautiful. Tucking the toes under, lifting the knees up. We're going to create space under the knees by pressing nice and firmly into the hands, the eyes of the elbows, so this inner crease of the elbows, rotating slightly inwards towards each other so that you're supported in the shoulders, and then gently exhaling, lifting the knees up, creating just a space, maybe even just an inch underneath your knees here. Breathing into the belly, breathing into the back. Make sure you're not collapsing in between the shoulder blades. Beautiful. Inhaling, pulling up on the belly button. Exhaling down the back of the spine. And one more breath, inhaling here. And before the knees come down, pressing back into bending the hips. A 90-degree angle on the hips. Like you're in high heels. Before you let the heels sink down towards the ground. So you're waiting here as if you are leaning forward, the weight is in the hands, the knees are still bent. If you absolutely need to, yes, go ahead and bring the heels, gently rolling them back down towards the floor. But if you can stay up in this high heel position, thinking of the knees almost squeezing an imaginary block together here. Working into the arches of the feet, and then on the exhale, gently keeping that micro bend in the knees, and 1 centimeter at a time, slowly allowing the balls of the feet to reach down towards the ground. The arch of the foot reaches down towards the ground. And if you have the space, keep pressing into the hands. The shoulders come back in line with the ears. And then very last, the spaciousness of the heels might reach down towards the ground. And if they don't reach down to the ground, that's even actually better for right now because we're creating space. So we're finding the space by pressing into the shoulders, making sure that the ears have lots of space, remembering that spaciousness of the breath, inviting in that nice inhalation, the wave of the breath into the back of the shoulders, into the back of the belly. And then lastly, that spaciousness might invite the heels down towards the ground. And I'm inviting you to keep the curiosity as you press into the hands. If you need to, of course, come back down into child's pose or come onto your knees for a second. But if you can stay here, just looking at the creases of your ankles and seeing if you can somehow bend the knees and create a little bit more space by pressing into the heels, even though the heels might not reach the floor, but by spreading the toes and creating some space on the front side of the ankle so that maybe even those creases or wrinkles on the front of the ankle disappear.
just slightly. Beautiful. And on the exhale, releasing the knees down. Fantastic. You did it. That was amazing. And really relishing in the breath. The knees wide apart, ankles come together, feet come together, and then coming down into a resting pose, creating this rest. The spaciousness of the breath enters into the body. So by creating the stimulation of stress, or this is a controlled stress through the yogic practice, we've created more spaciousness for the breath and more appreciation and awareness for the breath as it comes into the body in this resting pose. So seeing how quickly can you return to the breath here. Beautiful. One more inhalation here. And one more exhalation. Beautiful. And then coming up onto your knees, knees hip width distance apart. And we're going to come into just playing with our child's pose here, or playing with coming from the child's pose back here. And we're going to rotate around the shoulders and coming forward into up dog, pressing into the floor, and then exhale, rotating the right hip back towards the right hip crease. Inhaling, left hip around, circling through the shoulders. Inhale, coming up into your upward dog. And then exhaling all the way back to your child's pose. So you might just want to play with this for a little while. Inhaling up, coming into your upward dog, and then exhaling back, rotating around the right side of the hip. You might actually want to make a cold, hard stop as you inhale up into the upward dog. So pressing into the tops of the feet, rotating the shoulders up and down and back, and exhaling back. The exhale, the bottom of the breath, leads you to this child's pose. And then when the inhale comes back in, the fullness of the breath brings you forward as you press into the tops of the feet, rotating the shoulders, creating space on the side of the ears here. And the full exhalation rounds you back around. Beautiful. Now let's switch directions in the opposite side. So inhaling over to the right side, hips, bending the elbows, curving forward, reaching the shoulders up and down and back, pressing into the tops of the feet. Exhaling around to the left side. Hip coming back towards the feet. Inhale, rotating to the right. Stopping in your upward dog, pressing into your feet in your hands, exhaling back. Finding this connection of the breath and the movement, inhaling up. When you reach the fullness of the breath, rotating a micro bend in the elbows, chest comes up towards the sky, and then exhaling around. Inhaling one more time around and up. The fullest expression of your up dog, pressing the hips into the floor, the tops of the thighs and knees as the shoulders rotate up and down and back, and then exhaling back out and around and down to your child's pose. Rotating the palms up towards the sky, taking one full inhalation and one full exhalation here. Beautiful. Coming forward onto your tabletop, tucking the toes under here. And we're going to come back up into our plank position. Inhaling here, exhaling into the belly. And then on the inhalation, coming back to your downward dogs, pressing into the hand. Beautiful. So we'll lift the right leg up into the air and bending the right knee, opening up into your, rotating through the hips here, circling the hip around in one direction, and then circling the hip around in the other direction. Just playing through the hip joint here, keeping with the spaciousness of the breath. And on the inhale the right leg all the way up. And then if you're feeling prepared and ready, exhale, bringing the knee towards the nose and finding the space to walk, step the right foot between the right hands. Let the left foot, top of the foot press into the ground, and inhale the hands up. Creating spaciousness in the front of the body. Exhaling the hands out to the side. Seeing if you can grab a hold of your hands behind you. And notice, I'm not keeping a 90-degree angle in the front leg. I want to make sure that I'm pressing in and up so that I'm not creating too much weight in my lower back here. So inhaling, tucking the tailbone under, grabbing behind both hands if they're available to you, both elbows if they're available to you, or you might even just grab onto the sides of your shirt. Inhaling and creating space in the front of the chest. And then on the exhale, releasing that grip, the hands come back down, and then the right foot comes back to meet the left. Beautiful. Then bringing the knees down, perhaps into a tabletop or coming down into a chaturanga if that's good for you. Exhaling the chest between the hands, pushing the knees forward and inhaling up into just a little baby cobra here. Inhaling and then exhaling, tucking the toes under, coming up into tabletop or plank position. And then on the exhale, back to downward dog. Beautiful. We'll do the same thing on the left side. So inhaling the left leg up, bending the left knee, and inhale, rotating in one direction, clockwise 3 times through the left hip joint, keeping with the spaciousness of the breath, seeing if you can explore and use the awareness of the breath and switch directions to invite this just playfulness in this pose. If you've ever noticed children as they play, they give themselves so much space. And then exhaling, pressing the left leg up into the air. On the bend, inhaling the left knee up towards the chest. And however you can walk the leg up, press it up, or if you can lift it all the way forward. Left foot comes between both hands, left knee, top of the foot touches the ground. Inhaling the arms slowly up through the air. And exhale, bringing the arms down. Take your time, relish in the spaciousness of the breath. And on the exhale, grabbing hold of the hands if they're available behind you, rotating the shoulders up and down and back. Pressing into both the right knee and a left leg is at a 90-degree angle. You might even grab a hold of both elbows here. Inhaling in and exhaling. Beautiful. Finding that space in the front of the chest. Seeing how you can play with the breath here, even opening up the sides of the ears with the breath. As the shoulders reach down towards the tailbone. And on the exhale, releasing the hands, allowing them to come and frame the left front foot, pressing firmly, fingers spread nice and wide apart, tucking the right toe under, inhaling it up, exhaling the left leg back. Beautiful. And then allowing the knees to come down, the chest to come down between the arms, and then pressing forward into your up dog. Exhale, tucking the toes under. Coming back into your plank, inhaling here, and then exhaling back to downward dog. Beautiful. We'll do that again. So inhaling the right leg up into the air. This repetition, inhale, rotating one direction through the right hip, rotating the other direction, semicircle, clockwise or counterclockwise, and then on the inhale, pressing up into imaginary wall behind you, Inhaling, bringing the right foot through, knee up towards the chest. And on the exhale, reaching it down, the right heel goes in between the hands, left foot comes on to the top of the ground, knee. Inhaling, slowly relishing through the breath, pressing evenly into both hips. Beautiful. And exhaling the arms down towards the ground. Grabbing a hold of both hands behind you. They might even come into prayer or Anjali Mudra. Inhaling, the heart and the chest shines forward. Into the spaciousness in the front of the neck. And on the exhale, releasing the hands down to frame the feet. The right foot comes back to meet the left. Inhaling and exhaling here. One more breath, inhaling and exhaling. Can you breathe into the back? Even seeing if you can lift up not the hips, but drop the hips a little bit further, but lifting into the back of the heart. And one more inhale. On the exhale, gently, slowly lower the knees down, coming into your chaturanga, or the chest comes down by squeezing the elbows, inchworming, pressing into the tops of the feet, and slowly rolling up into your cobra pose. Chin parallel to the ground. Exhaling, the head, forehead down towards the ground, tucking toes under, pressing firmly up into your plank or tabletop. One breath, one movement. Inhale, and on the exhale, coming back to downward dog. Beautiful. Inhaling here. And exhale. We'll be here for 3 breaths if you need. Come into your child's pose. Inhale. And exhale. Finding that spaciousness and the front of the tops of the feet. Remembering, looking back at that ankle crease. Inhaling. And exhaling. Seeing if you can bend your knees here. And on the exhale, allowing the heels to come back down towards the ground. As you shift your weight into your right foot, inhaling the left foot up into the air, pressing into that imaginary wall behind you, bending the left knee on the exhale, and rotating in one direction clockwise through the hip. Inhale and exhale, and then switching directions, inhaling and exhaling through that hip joint, pressing the left leg back into the air, firm through both hands. Inhaling the knee towards the chest. Hands, foot comes between the hands. You might even come up onto your fingertips here as you left. The right knee comes down to the ground. Top of the right foot comes into the ground. Inhale, slowly pressing evenly into both hips. Squaring out the hips at a 90-degree angle as the hands come up above the head on the inhale, and exhale, slowly sweeping the energy, sweeping, creating spaciousness. As you reach back, hands come into clasped hands, grabbing elbows, or prayer mudra behind your back. Inhale, pressing both hands firmly into one another, pulling up on the root of the pelvic floor as you create space, looking up towards the sky. Exhale, bringing the hands down to frame the left foot. Beautiful. One more time, tucking the right toe under. Left foot comes back to meet the right. We'll be here for 3 breaths, inhaling and exhaling. If this is too much in a plank from your, you can come down to your knees in a plank, inhaling and exhaling, pressing firmly into the hands. One more time, inhaling and exhaling. Beautiful. And then tucking the knees back, coming into a high downward dog like we did before. So inhaling, bending the knees as if you're going to sit in a chair that would be put behind you at a weird angle. And then exhaling, bringing the heels gently down back towards the floor. Beautiful. Inhaling into the back. Exhale, bringing the knees down. Beautiful. The tops of the feet press into the ground. If you haven't tried this yet, Nice and slowly replacing your chaturanga by exhale, squeezing the elbows together. See how slowly on the exhale, can you slowly, the last thing to come down is the chest onto the ground. Then pushing the pelvis into the ground, inchworming the chest forward, the belly flattens onto the ground, rotating the shoulders up and down and back, chin parallel to the floor. In cobra pose. Taking one breath here, and on the exhale, releasing the head down. We're going to go into active cobra here. So pressing both feet into the ground, pressing both palms into the underneath the shoulders, and then inhaling up. Active cobra, chin parallel to the ground, and exhaling, looking back towards the belly button. So creating space in the neck here as you inhale up, thinking about maybe even there's a tennis ball behind your neck, so you're not pushing or scrunching the neck up, but you're inhaling, creating space in the front of the neck. And on the exhale, squeezing the side of the body with the elbows as the chin comes towards the chest. The forehead's the last thing to reach the ground. Active through the feet. One more time, inhale up. Cobra. And exhale. Beautiful. Head comes back down towards the ground. Coming into all fours here. Tucking the feet, moving them in front of you into a little forward fold here so we can counterbalance the back bend that we just took. So inhaling the arms up above the head. Exhaling the hands to the heart center. Keeping a micro bend in the knees here if that's comfortable for you. And on the exhale, reaching forward and grabbing a hold of the thighs, the shins, maybe the ankles, perhaps the big toe. And wherever you are, making sure that you are only keeping an awareness of where your body is today. So allowing that space for growth in the body. With every inhale, perhaps the back of the knees soften down towards the mat a little bit. Softening in the front of the pelvis. So you're always creating space for your growth with the breath. By not comparing yourself to anyone else, that's the beauty of the home practice, is you only have yourself to measure with and where your body may have been the day before, perhaps where you would like your body to go in the future. Those are just the ideals, right? But we can really use this awareness and spaciousness of the breath to keep ourselves rooted and aware in this present moment. Following that inhalation and exhalation, inviting in that awareness. And noticing with every breath as you're releasing your expectations of what the body is supposed to or could or would do, you're inviting in just this gentleness to just be with where the body actually is today. Beautiful. Taking one more, can you make a conscious inhalation, that snoring in sound by squeezing air into the back of the throat, into that ujjayi or victory breath. Victoriously exhaling out the back of the throat as the energy and the gaze moves inward in this forward fold. And perhaps just taking one more breath, if there's any place that feels a particular tightness, inhaling into that space. Exhale, releasing forward. Beautiful. And slowly walking the hands back up the front of the legs. Fantastic. And bending the right foot so that it crosses over the left foot. You can reach the right hand up into the air and grabbing a hold of the using the left hand to grab a hold of the right shin, inhaling the right hand up into the air, and exhale, bringing the right hand behind you towards the base of the spine. So you get a nice, tall lengthening of the spine. First, creating space in the top of the spine. So beginning the stretch, instead of thinking of it moving from the bottom of the spine, where you might actually end up kind of like wrenching into the spine. We'll first use the eyes to see how far can they look behind us. And then the exhalation brings the belly button back towards the spine. Inhaling in and seeing how can you create space as you rotate that right shoulder up and down and back. Looking over the right shoulder. And then inviting the openness and twist to come from the center of the spine, then the bottom of the spine. Beautiful. Exhaling and releasing that. Letting it go. Bringing the right foot back down to the left. Inhaling, bending the left knee. Inhaling the right arm up into the air, grabbing a hold of the left shin. Inhaling the left arm up into the air as it comes back down behind the left spine. Strengthening and lengthening through the spine. Shining through the front of the heart, and exhale, looking over the left shoulder. First, moving the twist through the eyes, then over the shoulder as the belly button comes back towards the spine. Moving into the center of the ribs, and then the twist moving into the bottom of the spine. Beautiful. Inhaling and exhaling, letting that go. And then coming into our final relaxation pose here. If you have time, you might want to come into a lying Shavasana. But if you might be moving into your busy day, just closing the eyes here as you're sitting in Sukhasana or easy pose, the hands in front of the heart. Giving thanks for your beautiful awareness in this practice. Thank you so much for joining. Namaste, I'm Afi Ayanna. Please engage, subscribe. We'll see you at Afi, AFI, Healthy Happy, Instagram for any class requests. And thank you so much to the African American Arts and Culture Complex for this healing space. Namaste and Ashe.